Hey everybody, it's Mallory Strotheide, loan officer here in West Michigan, and today I am so excited to highlight one of our 0% down loan programs that we're able to offer clients. This program is called Rural Development, or RD for short, and it is a true 0% down program, which not a lot of people know about it. I feel like it was really popular like 5 to 10 years ago, and it kind of went by the wayside. But today we're going to highlight it because if you can qualify for rural development, it's an awesome opportunity. So, a couple of key points with this 0% down program. One big thing, probably the biggest thing, is the home has to be located in a rural eligible area. So, what does that mean? What is considered rural? So, there's actually a map. USDA has a map that you can go on and you can put in the address and it will tell you if the area is eligible or not. So if you are looking at houses and one pops up and you think it's eligible, or you might not know, even if you don't know, you can plug in the address and it will tell you yes or no. It'll say it's in an eligible area and it'll be green, or it'll say ineligible and it will be red. So super important. If you're thinking about West Michigan, I always say general rule of thumb with what is rural and what's not. If you're going north, it's very easy. Typically, Rockford North is what we consider rural development eligible. If you're going east, it's also pretty simple. Usually Lowell all the way to like Saginaw Highway in Grand Ledge can qualify for rural development. Again, always want to double check the address with your loan officer, but general rule of thumb. If you go west, on the west side of the state, it gets a little bit trickier because we've got pockets over there that do qualify, like Ravenna and Coopersville and West Olive. But then you've also got some of those major cities like Grand Haven and Holland. So it's a little bit trickier when you are going west. Same thing with going south, right? So if you're in West Michigan, usually you've got to get past Caledonia. You've got to get into like Middleville and like Allegan and Wayland, for example, to get rural development eligible property. So just a general rule of thumb, if you're thinking about the state of Michigan and you're looking to buy a house in Lowell, Lowell qualifies typically for rural development. So that is a great place to start if you are looking to buy over there. Same thing if you're looking to buy in Kent City, right? Kent City is a rural eligible area. So just a general rule of thumb, always check the property to make sure that it's qualified. The other thing with rural development is they do have an income cap and it varies per county. And it also varies depending on how many people actually are living in the household. So your loan officer, myself, we're going to do a great job at calculating your income to make sure that you do qualify based on the county or the counties that you're looking at. If you're looking in multiple counties and you're not super specific to Kent County, let's say you're looking in Ionia and Kent County, they're going to have different income caps typically. So we're going to look at that. We're going to let you know what those maxes are and if you do qualify for them. So really important to make sure again that you've got an eligible property and that you are eligible with your income. And again, it does vary based on the county. The other thing that rural development is very strict on is debt to income ratios. So when we're looking at your total debt versus what you make, and we use gross income when we're calculating this, they are very strict. Their ratios are 29 and 36%. If you have good credit, we can sometimes go over that. But rural development is a unique program because the underwriting system that we use on our end, it's called GUS. It's got a funky name. It's very finicky and it's very picky on what it looks at. So a lot of times we see people with, even a 700 credit score that it's just not running approve eligible. So just something to keep in mind. If it's not running approve eligible, that's okay. We can underwrite and close files that are in refer eligible status. It's just a little bit more documentation and a little bit more time for closing. So keeping that in mind, knowing it's a little bit tougher to qualify for this program because it is truly 0% down. So it is a little bit tricky, a little bit tougher to qualify. The other thing with rural development to keep in mind is the property does have certain property qualifications besides just being located in a rural eligible area. The property has to qualify. So rural development does have stipulations. They don't love outbuildings. They don't love chipping and peeling paint. There are stipulations on what rural development will accept. I will say it's more similar to FHA because it is a government program, right? So when you're buying a house using the government program, they're just a little bit more strict on what they will qualify. Obviously, it needs to have no health and safety concerns, right? And then, like I said, outbuildings. For a while, I know they didn't like pools. So just certain things that we need to keep in mind when we're looking at properties and making sure they do qualify for rural development as well. With rural development, the process is very similar. The pre-approval process is going to be similar, as any other loan program. The difference is we're checking your income to make sure you're under the calculation. We're also going to, when you get under contract, we're going to send the file. Once we clear it to close in our system, we do have to send it over to rural development to approve. So just like MSHDA, rural development also has that final stamp, and it can take a little bit longer to close depending on how far out their turn times are. So just something to keep in mind. So rural development is a 0% down program, but the one big thing to keep in mind is it doesn't mean no money out of pocket. It's 0% down payment, but you're always going to have closing costs. And closing costs typically for a buyer on an average purchase price is going to be anywhere from 3 to 4% of that purchase price. So if you truly don't have money for a down payment or closing costs, you are going to want to make sure that you talk with your realtor and that you get that money worked into your purchase agreement. You want to make sure that you're asking for seller concessions. On a rural development loan, you can ask for up to 6% of the purchase price to cover closing costs and prepaid items. So super important to keep that in mind. And as a loan officer, it is my job to run those numbers to make sure that you know, okay, this is how much you need in seller concessions. And if you don't get any concessions, this is how much money you need out of pocket. The other big thing with rural development is you cannot own another property. So if you're on the title to a lake house that your family's had for 100 years, you could not buy a home using the rural development program. I've had this happen before. We've had to have people remove themselves from title or from deeds to buy a rural development program. So just keep that in mind. If you own another property and you're looking to get another 0% down loan, you would have to sell your home first and make a contingent offer in order to get a rural development loan in the future. So, in closing, rural development is a great loan program. You do not have to be a first time home buyer to utilize it. It's a 0% down loan program. There are income eligibility caps based on the county, and the property has to be located in a rural eligible area, and you can't own any other properties. If you have any questions on down payment programs, low money down options, let me know. We have several different options for you. I've done a previous video on the MSHDA down payment assistance program, which is also a great option. So if you have questions on that, check that video out. And if you're looking to get pre-approved to buy a home in West Michigan, all of my information is in the captions. Bye.